Καλησπέρα σας, καλοί φίλοι τηλεθεατές. Good evening to you. Welcome to Faces again. Here we are with another new face, Mr. Achilleas Konstantinou. Good evening, καλησπέρα Achilleas.
Καλησπέρα Βασίλη.
Τι κάνεις?
Πολύ καλά.
Nice to have you here.
Thank you. I'm not sure I'm such a new face, but it's good to be here.
Well, for me, it's a new face for our, audience.
Good.
But your face is new.
Good.
And you still,
Good.
I mean, I remember you about 30 years ago, and you're still the same.
I was
You
still
haven't
new
changed.
then.
I tell you what, would you like traveling?
Do I like traveling?
Yes.
Sure.
Can we travel together back to the future?
Back to the future and the past.
In
Okay.
the past.
Okay.
Would you like to go back to the, I like to travel back and share your story with our audience. You
Wow.
born in Cyprus?
Born in Cyprus, yes.
Can you tell us about that? I mean, where you born and family and all this, and when you come here to London?
Sure, that is going back. Yeah, I was born in Cyprus. I was born in Bladres, which is a beautiful village up in the Troodos Mountains. We came to England when I was 7 years old, and
A baby.
a baby. And my brother, my older brother Aristos was 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old.
Uh-huh.
And my sister Fuller was 13 years old.
Three of you.
Three of you.
Yes.
Three of us, yes.
Okay.
My
and-
father came in 1953. My mother came in 1954, and we came in 1955 to England.
Okay. That time it was just, before, this trouble was in Cyprus with,
I guess I was too
yes,
young to know.
yes.
I
Yeah,
mean,
you
I
don't
was,
remember that.
I was 7.
Anyway, you
When I
came,
know I was 7.
You came here because your father was here, yeah?
My father, like many Cypriots of that generation, tried to find a better life for his family by coming to England. He was a master tailor, so he came over, and then a year later my mother came, and then a year after that they brought us over, and we were left with my grandmother. My grandmother was Evanthea Glianthus Sava, a fabulous lady, and she always used to say, μας έλεγε, τα λόγια μου θα σας γίνουν θεμέλια.
Έτσι,
My words will become your foundations. And they have been. And she was a very religious lady, so she taught us all the right principles, philosophy on life, basically treat others the way you like to be treated, and be bloody tough in business. She taught us that,
Yes.
and we did it.
Lovely. Tell us about the school days. I mean, you came here and you went to school straight away, I suppose.
Yes, of course. We went to a normal junior school in those days. I went to one called Ambler, I think, Ambler Junior School in Blackstock Road, Finsbury Park. And I never forget, it's a crazy story, but there was, because we were foreign and we didn't speak any English, there was one boy, he kept spitting at me.
Oh my God.
Spitting at me. So my mum and dad were at work. My grandmother, who spoke no English at all, went to the school about a week later, and she's went to the headmaster, trying to explain to him.
To my son.
So, good old headmaster, he got all the boys in the school to line up in the playground for me to identify
Yes.
the boy. That boy wasn't in school that day. He wasn't there. So I
shame.
couldn't identify anybody. And you know who the boy was?
Who was?
The next morning in the choir,
Yeah.
in the when we have the assembly in the morning, he's the one singing and on his own and doing the choir, and he was the headmaster's pet boy.
Oh my God.
Yes, absolutely. But my grandmother eventually found out, and he got told off, and he didn't spit at me anymore.
Okay.
So
and then,
I had my own little bit of prejudice, you see.
okay, going further, you study, and how you get involved in fashion business? I mean,
Well, Dad was a master tailor. My father was a master tailor, and he used to work in Soho. And he had a workshop on the first floor at number 45 Carnaby Street. And my dear late brother Aristos loved fashion and studied fashion at the London College of Fashion. He did men's and women's fashions. And when Aristos graduated, he started making all these couture dresses, these sort of very upmarket dresses for couturiers in London. One of the couture houses he worked for was a company called Matsley in Carlos Place in Mayfair. And I was a kid at school, and Dad had this workshop on Carnaby Street, and Saturdays we used to go and help my dad with his tailoring, both Aristos and I. And then Aristos started on his own. He had a little shop in Marshall Street, which is near Berwick Street Market. And I remember Aristos was on the 3rd floor. He had a workshop, and above him was a prostitute on the 4th floor. Yes, quite legal profession.
Yes.
The world's oldest profession.
Yes.
And she used to finish about 11:30 and come down, and Aristos was still working, and she used to make him coffee. Absolutely. That's how hard he worked. So, and I was at school, finishing school, and then Dad had this place in Carnaby Street, and Carnaby Street started exploding in the sort of mid-60s. And I remember saying to my brother, Aristos, why are you making all these fuddy-duddy things for these sort of posh women and everything else? Why don't we make street fashion? Why don't you make street fashion for all the kids on the street here in Carnaby Street, underneath Dad's workshop? So, he said to me, that's not a bad idea. So he went down Berwick Street Market to buy some cloth. We persuaded my father to give us one of the rooms behind his tailor shop on the 1st floor in Carnaby Street. So me and all my hippie friends turned the room into a boutique. Aristos in the back room was machining dresses with one of his girlfriends. So we opened up on the 1st floor, 45 Carnaby Street in 1966. I remember it to this day. We had about 20 dresses on the rail. The whole entrance was painted in psychedelic colors, in blues and pinks and yellows and purples, and we called it Aristos Girls Shop. The first day we sold all 20 dresses. Okay?
That's good.
Halfway through the afternoon, Aristos got the money that I was the salesman, got the money, went down Berwick Street Market, bought some more cloth, started stitching up more dresses. Sulego. And he worked all night. The next morning, we had 30 dresses.
My God.
This
is how you start.
That's how we started. The first week, I remember we took £300.
You know something, Achilleas? You told me this
let me tell you
story.
this. No. The first week, we took £300, Vasily.
Yeah.
And we looked at each other and went, shh.
Don't say anything.
This is where the money is. Average wages in those days was £20 a week. We took £300 in 5 days.
Oh my God.
Of which a very substantial
This is
amount
what
was
I was going to say.
Yeah.
I mean, your father was a master tailor.
Yeah.
My father was a master tailor.
Really?
Yes. I met someone last week and says to me, why didn't you follow your father's steps?
Yes.
And he says to me, you become an actor and you make nothing. I mean, you haven't got any money on this. I would have been in this business myself. You know what I mean?
Look,
I wanted to
funny.
become famous and all this, but
My
can't
father
have
did
everything.
not. My father did not want Aristos or me to go into the rag trade, into fashion, into
But you
dresses,
decided to.
into tailoring. Well, no, I didn't. Aristos did. Aristos loved it,
Okay.
and he had a bench. My brother and I used to share our bedrooms, and he had a bench in his bedroom where he used to practice his patterns.
Okay.
And one day my father got really angry, and he said, "Δεν θα σε κάνω ράφτη." And
didn't
if I
want him to become Raftis,
if I
yes.
wanted you to be a tailor, I would not have come to England. So Dad smashed the table
Oh my God.
and threw it out the window.
Yes.
My brother
But
was crying.
Your
and
brother
upset.
was insisting,
Carried on.
Yes.
And then we did what I just told you and opened the little shop, and we started taking money, and then all of a sudden my father saw that we were making much more money.
And he changed his mind.
We were making more money in a month
Uh-huh.
than he could make in 6 months.
Uh-huh.
And he started gaining respect for my brother and me. Dad wanted me to become a lawyer, so I became a lawyer. I went to university, and I went to King's College London, did a law degree, and then I came out of the law degree. And at that time, I was saying to my brother, let's expand now. We got this little shop on the 1st floor. That my college was at King's College in the Strand, which is 15 minutes from Carnaby Street.
Uh-huh.
So I used to come and sell between lectures. So we then went to a chap who had a corner shop in Newburgh Street called Vince's. And this was owned by Vince Green. And it was the first gay shop shop selling clothes
For
primarily
gays.
for gays. Now, gays, as you know, were very flamboyant. They
Yeah,
still
yeah,
are,
yeah,
the
yeah.
way they dress. It's incredibly sort of interesting, for want of a better word, but always artistic and very fashionable. So Aristos and I went to him, and I remember Aristos had a broken leg at the time, so he was in plaster and limping. And began to men, we're going to this man's store. He's been there 30 years now. It was the first shop in the whole, Newburgh Street, it's just 5 meters off Carnaby Street. Would you like to, we said to him, would you like to sell the shop? He says, what do you mean, you couple of young upstarts, get out of here. So he threw us out, and Aristos said to him, look, here's my card. He said, just in case you change your mind.
Yes, yes.
We're just down the road in Carnaby Street,
Yes.
up on the first floor. Sure enough, 6 months later,
He came back.
we get a letter from Crown Commissioners,
Uh-huh.
who were the landlords of my father's workshop. They said we were illegally trading as a retailer on the first floor, and we had to close down within X number of days. And Aristos and I thought, well, this is it, our business is finished. In walks the next day Vince Green, comes up the stairs, he says,
I
"You
want
know-
to sell my shop.
I want to sell my shop. Are you still interested?
Yes.
So we said, sure.
Yes.
So he wanted £1,000 premium. We managed, we just about had £1,000 saved up. We paid it to him. We bought the shop. We had no money to buy stock or anything. Aristos is back down Berwick Street Market. This time he had 2 employees who were stitching up dresses left, right and centre. I was a long-haired, young hippie, not like this old man you're seeing now.
Like me.
Like you, I was a young Vasily here, long hair, platform shoes, snakeskin boots, you know, snakeskin belt.
Okay.
Real hippie. And me and all my hippie friends painted this shop the most psychedelic colors, and we called it Blushp. Blushp. Means nothing,
Yes.
right? Because we didn't know what to call it. We didn't want to call it a Greek name because at time, you know, with Cyprus independence and everything else.
Difficult.
And there was a little bit of prejudice, you know. I was telling you I was getting spat at school, and we had our own suffering. You know, the young Cypriots that came over that didn't speak English that well. But so we called it Blushp. International makes people say Blushp.
Yes. Blushp.
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 So it makes you smile.
Yes.
And all
Blushp.
customers, yes, all customers became Blushpatized, they became Blushpatarians, and it was all fun. But it was the
Very
60s.
clever.
It was the 60s.
Yeah.
So that was our first retail shop.
Yeah,
And we
bravo.
started there, and it was by the grace
Lovely.
of God that Vince Green decided to sell just when we needed to.
Good.
And then we opened a second shop on Carnaby Street, at number 31 Carnaby Street. Then we opened one in Oxford Street, in Up West. That's another story.
Yeah.
Up West, Vasily.
We can have a series of, programs, and we can,
Well,
just
but listen to this.
expand it.
Up West
Yes.
was it's the first shop within shop. It was a big shop on Oxford Street, near Oxford Circus, and it was full of little concessions inside, people that paid rent to the landlord to trade. So we thought it was a good idea, so we got a shop, and we were given a shop right at the back. And we said to Harvey Sonning, was the landlord of Guardian Properties, we said, Harvey, we want a shop nearer the front. At the back, not many people come. He said, but yeah, I've got nothing at the front. And I said to him, yes, you do. He says, what do you mean? I said, you have the shop window. He said, what do you mean you can't make a shop in the shop window? I said, we'll give you £10,000 a year rent. Give us the shop window. He said, of course. And he was earning nothing from it before. He took the 10,000. We got the shop window. We put a mezzanine floor in. We doubled the floor space by a mezzanine floor. And I tell you something, it's a good job we're short, Vasily.
Yes.
Because over 6 foot, you hit your head on the ceiling.
Oh my
right?
God, yes.
So
You see, it's
all
good.
the men, all the
Sometimes
Canadians,
it's good to be short, yes.
είχαμε όλους αυτούς τους τουρίστες, οι ψηλοί, ήταν πάντα κομπορουμένοι, you know, like this. They couldn't stand up. Ο Γιώργο, the cameraman, would not be able to stand up.
Achilleas, let's talk about something else, because we
Okay.
haven't got any much time, but
You wanted the beginning.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
giving
the
you the
beginning. That's the
beginning.
beginning, yes. Anyway, I mean, okay. But at the same time, it was other things happening, okay?
Yeah.
Family and all this. You got
Sure.
married, you have kids and all this, and
Yes.
you create more, businesses and all this. Okay, tell us about the family.
I'll give you in a nutshell. From there, we opened another shop on Oxford Street, number 72, which we had for more than 18 years. We opened one in Duke Street. We opened up one in Peterborough. We opened up one in Lausanne in Switzerland, in Washington, D.C. We had franchises, people wanting, and it was great. It was great.
Yeah.
And everything was fantastic. My brother and I lived in a flat in Gloucester Place. We then bought a house together in Avenue Road, Regent's Park. We were the youngest people to own a house in Regent's Park because it was a very famous road. And it was wonderful. Aristos got married in 1976. And then, of course, it was him and his wife and me. His wife used to be a sales lady in our shops, a very attractive young lady that Aristos fell in love with. And he married her, and we lived. And then, of course, I was Gooseberry, because it was Aristos and his wife and me in this house in Avenue Road. So we needed to move. So we bought 2 houses in Hampstead that we moved to in 1977. What happened then? In 1980, I got married. Aristos had 3 beautiful sons. I'm godson to his eldest son, who is Aristos Jr., and his second son is Nicholas, and his third son is Anthony. I then had 4 children of my own, 3 boys and a girl. My daughter Lana is now very much involved in the business. Before we get to that, you probably know my dear brother Aristos was murdered in his home in Hampstead on the 1st of January 1985. It was a tragic thing because here we were, 2 young boys. Aristos was 40, I was 36. We were amongst the most successful Greek Cypriots in London. We had a wonderful life. We had a great business. We started wholesaling. We opened up in Great Portland Street because people wanted our dresses. We were the first Greek company, by the way, that started in fashion business, retailing directly to the customers. Most of the others were making for other people.
For others, yes.
But we were making for ourselves, for our own shops. And then people came to us and said, can we buy for our shops? That's how the wholesale thing started. So we did all that, Vasily, and my brother was murdered, and that just about messed our whole lives up completely. Messed my life up, messed my wife's, my family, messed the life up of his children. So for nearly 20 years, I've had no interest, since losing my brother in 1985, of expanding the business or doing anything. I kept keeping the business going. You know, like my mother said, you know, they destroyed the trunk, don't let them destroy the tree, right? And we didn't let them destroy the tree. And to the credit of Ariella, the fashion company, is still going very strong. It's probably now stronger than ever. And, you know, during the whole course of it, the reason I went into fashion and not into law was because from the very first day after I graduated with law, in helping my brother full-time, I loved it. I loved every minute of it, you know. And Ari was the designer and I was the salesman. Together, everyone used to say we make a perfect businessman. And then when I lost my brother in 85, it was a big shock for me. You know, he was my best friend, he was my mentor. I just loved him, you know, and he loved me, and we were very close together. And it's like I lost my arm.
I know.
But nevertheless, we've survived, and the police investigation into his murder basically is still live and continuing. They more or less know who did it, but we don't want to get into that now.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing that matters is that the company's continuing, and things have now changed in the sense that my children have grown up, and my daughter, who was a fantastic singer, is now showing an interest in the fashion business. And all of a sudden, my son, Alexander, who's a computer expert, has got an interest in expanding the business. My son Nicholas, who's a solicitor, is
so everybody's in the business now.
Yeah, we brought him in as
the business.
Yes, they're not really in Ariella. Nick's a solicitor, but he does our legal work. Alex does computer software, so he does our website. And Lana, who was signed by Matthew Knowles, Beyonce Knowles' father, so you can see what talent she was as a singer, said to me after 4 or 5 years, Daddy, I don't really like this music business, and I like your fashion business. It's very glamorous and fun. Well, to coin a pun, that was music to my ears, because I didn't really want her to go into music. And she loved fashion, and she's got the flair for fashion. And all of a sudden, Ariella is now looking for expansion again. And that's where we are now.
Okay, lovely. Now, would you like to talk a little bit about the new Ariella Couture?
Absolutely. For many years, as I said to you, for the last 20 years or so, We eventually closed all the shops because when my brother died, I couldn't handle the retail side and the wholesale side. So we focused just on the wholesale side, supplying the high street. And we've got some wonderful clients. We supply people like House of Fraser, we supply John Lewis, we supply Laura Ashley, we supply CNA abroad, El Corte Inglés in Spain. We've got a wonderful spectrum of clients. And over the last 20 years, Ariella has in fact won a major industry accolade in every one of our 4 decades. In the 80s, we were described by, no, in the 70s, when my brother was alive, we were described by Punch magazine as the power in Carnaby Street. In the 80s, we won the IPC Woman magazine's fashion awards for best cocktail wear and best evening wear. In the 90s, we won the Export Apparel Award, and we won the Queen's Award for Export Achievement, which is the highest accolade any British company can get. And in the noughties, as we call them, we won the UK Fashion Export Award, and we've just last year won the HSBC Business Thinking 2010 competition for having the best business plan for expansion for any company in London. We won the London region.
Yes.
Out of, I think there was over 3,000 companies that applied.
And where you get some, funding as well, yeah?
We got some funding from them, from HSBC, who are a fantastic bank. I was taken to Shanghai and Hong Kong for all the finals. We had cultural visits to be introduced to the Asian market, which, as you may know, is the largest growing market now, for especially for luxury goods. And that was amazing. So we've been very successful. But now Ariella Couture has come back because we're going back to where we were when we started.
Yeah.
I'm glad you went historically.
Yes,
so I forgot that.
Yes.
We've gone back selling directly to the public because what is the world's Oxford Street now? What's the world's high street? The internet.
Internet.
Isn't it?
So actually you sell it direct through
we
the
are selling
internet.
direct. Ariella Couture is only available on www.ariella.com. That's my plug.
But you're planning to have a shop as well, where you can, or this
in our
is
head office.
something-
Our head office is now it's in sort of East Finchley, the bottom of the Bishop's Avenue, next to the Hexagon BMW garage, 9496 Great North Road. We've got a beautiful headquarters building. And on the ground floor, we will be opening in the next few weeks a very upmarket shop where women can come and see the dresses that are on the website. And
you already sell some, quite few to celebrities, and can you,
my
give us more
goodness, yes.
information?
Well, Ariella Couture has only just been launched, in fact, about 4 weeks ago. As I said, it's available online. The website is the only website in the world that you can see things in 3D.
Can we?
Yes, and in a minute, if you like, I can show you. Do you want to have a look
Yes,
now?
please, yes.
Okay.
You
have to wear 3D glasses.
Let's think I am in a cinema, okay?
No, you can be at home.
Can you?
You need a computer that can receive 3D.
Okay.
And you just
Let
go
me
into
see.
your website and you wear your 3D glasses. And I'm taking my glasses off. Okay. And you put them on, and you click in, and you go to the to the thing. And when you come to our website, you see some images say 3D on them, like this one here.
Oh, yes.
So you click 3D, and what do you see, Vasily?
Well, it's like live, you know what I mean?
You can always touch it.
Yes.
You
Can
see?
I? Yes. I mean, it's here. Yes.
You know 3D, you must have all seen 3D. Go to the
Yes,
cinema now,
beautiful
3D.
women. Oh my God,
The
this is
dresses are
lovely.
there, you can move
yeah.
around and you move around the dress.
Beautiful. Oh, look at that.
And this is the only website in the world, Vasily, that you can do this.
Beautiful.
So
Can we see a little bit more?
later. We don't have time. You don't have time. But you can go to ariella.com, you can see it. So what was I saying? I was saying,
Talking about, how it works.
yes. Now, so that's why it's Couture, Ariella Couture. It's a different brand name to Ariella, which is the mainstream company that we supply the high street. And the beauty about it is that everything what does a woman think when she buys a dress?
To be unique or whatever.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, how can a woman be unique today? You go in the high street, so many of the shops have exactly the same things. So we've said, okay, we're going to do this. It's not going to be very cheap. The dresses are not cheap, but When we started retailing many years ago, we were never cheap. Ariella was never cheap. Aristos was never a cheap brand.
Yes.
But we've got dresses here that are 2, 3, 4, 5, 600 pounds. But they're limited editions. There's only a very few made of each one. Okay? And you can only buy them on this website. You can't get them in Oxford Street, you can't get them in Bond Street, you can't get them anywhere in the world. Only
Lovely.
here. So that, I think, is a little formula.
Achillea, something else. Is
Sure.
anything in life you missed? I mean,
Anything in life?
yes.
Of course there is. That's a very serious question. But yeah, I miss my brother, Vasily.
Okay,
that's what I miss.
that's,
Nothing
you
else.
know,
I have my mother. My mother's 94 now. She's fantastic. I have my sister, right? I have 4 beautiful children. I miss seeing my brother's children because we've not been able to see them for many years. That's another story.
Okay.
But this is a happy interview. It's an interview about the future. And apart from that, you know, we thank God every day because it's, you know, we have had a very full life, and I've had a very full life. And
Anything-
now
yeah.
Ariella is full of young students. You know,
good.
my company's now.
You give the chance to youngsters and all this, and in the future, I mean, everybody has plans and all this kind of thing. In the future, do you have any plans to retire, go back to Cyprus, or what do you want to do?
Well-
You want to stay here?
Well, listen, I love Cyprus, and I visit Cyprus regularly. We go.
You have a
Definitely
house
go
in
every
Paphos,
summer.
eh?
We have a nice house, which we love. And we also love London and enjoy our life in London. Of course, I want to slow down. And one of the reasons that I'm so excited about, especially my daughter Lana, being so involved in the business, A, she's very good at it. She's got a flair for fashion. But also, Ariella is now full of young kids. You know, we've got fashion graduates heading nearly every department in Ariella, from garment technology to designs to sales. It's all young graduates, and it's young blood. You know, it's very everyone, because when we started business, my brother and I were the youngest, and now I was the youngest. Now I'm the oldest.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
now we've got all this young blood coming in to the business. And I'll tell you something, Dimitri, these fashion graduates are so clever. They see things differently. They have young ideas, and I give them a lot of rope. And if they know how to use it, they can get to the top very quickly. So it's great fun. I'm so excited now that I'm stepping back. I'm chief executive now.
Yeah.
So I'm not so much hands-on, but I can direct.
You just looking after them and all this.
Yeah, you mentioned about celebrities. You know, we've had, in the last 6 weeks, we've had, no, not 6 weeks, in the last 3 months, we've had, they're all in here, we've had Beverly Knight wore our dress at the Beatles Philharmonic Tribute at the Royal Albert Hall, there she is. We've had, let's have a look. We designed all the Playboy outfits for the Playboy Club.
Oh, yeah?
That launched just before Christmas in London. Michelle Keegan, who's in Coronation Street, sexiest female. She was voted sexiest female at the National Television Awards, wearing our dress.
Beautiful.
What's her name? Mylene Klaas wore this dress when, this yellow dress at, again, the National Television Awards. And she was pregnant.
Oh.
And she said she won the Battle of the Bumps. Because there was about 3 other celebrities there pregnant. She looked best. There's then we had Holly Willoughby presented. I think it was the skating on ice. What's it called?
Yes.
And at the BAFTA, she was wearing our dress.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Achillea, now, because we haven't got any much time,
And hold on, Amanda Holden at the Shrek
Amanda Holden.
opening wore our
Britain
dress.
is called Talent. Yes.
Yes.
The judge, yes.
And Kelly Rowland.
Oh,
Kelly
my
Rowland,
God,
where is
you've
she?
got everything.
And Made in Chelsea girls, Cheska wearing our dress, and that's Kelly Rowland.
Kelly. Oh my God.
So it's been good because
Yes, lovely.
they love fashion.
Okay, talking about fashion, you have a fashion show very soon.
Yes, we do. We've got a launch show, as I said to you. This is all very new. Ariella Couture on the website is all brand new. So the official launch of everything is on April the 17th, where we're hosting a launch fashion show at 250 Bishopsgate, which is the international headquarters of RBS Bank. It's a huge glass building in Bishopsgate. It's magnificent. And they're allowing us to project big Ariella couture right across the front. Please God, it will be attended by a lot of celebrities. It's going to be a fabulous fashion show with a cocktail party afterwards. And you were invited, Vasily.
Thank you very much.
And so will Hellenic Television.
Thanks.
And I promise you,
yes,
it will be one of the most spectacular fashion shows
I'll be there.
ever held in London. And don't forget, I was a founder member of the British Fashion Council, and I retired from it last year after serving 25 years. So I've seen more fashion shows than you've had hot dinners.
Okay.
So we're going to put on a good one.
Lovely. Achillea, in few words,
Yes.
please, tell us, what is the secret of success? Because you are a successful businessman and family is beautiful,
Yes.
and everything is working, in the best direction. They're going in the best direction.
That's a very good question, actually, and I'm not going to give you a flippant answer, Vasily.
Give me the answer,
But
because I want to be successful.
An
You know what I mean?
There is an answer to that question, and you can either raise to that answer or you can't. But don't forget, the world doesn't only need leaders and chiefs, it also needs Indians. So you do not always have to be tremendously successful to be a successful human being. But if you mean what is the
that's
secret?
a very, 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 very good answer.
Very important.
I wish and I hope I'm a successful human being than successful
That's very, very
in other
important.
ways.
But if you mean what is the secret of being a success in business, okay, and in sort of making money and becoming wealthy and having a status, the answer to that question is, number one, of course, it's hard work. You must be prepared to work hard.
Okay.
Secondly, become a specialist. Become a specialist in your subject.
Okay.
Become an expert in your subject.
Not many people can do what you do.
No, be good at what you do. Understand it. And once you're a specialist in your subject, understand your market, right? Whether you're a doctor and you want to specialize in spinal surgery, or whether you're a fashion retailer and you want to sell to the cheap end or the medium end or the hyper luxury brands, okay? Understand your market, respect your customer. The customer is king. If you have a satisfied customer today, you'll have him tomorrow, okay? And quality. Today it's all about quality. Make sure whatever you're giving as a service or as a product, it's to the best possible quality.
Okay. Now, what is the most important thing in life for you? The most important.
The most important thing in life for me is peace of mind, right? Being able to sleep at night with a clean conscience, knowing that I've done a good day's work, knowing that I haven't cheated anybody, knowing that I haven't robbed anybody, knowing that I haven't been a mug or anybody's fool or been taken for a ride by anybody, having a wonderful family life with my wife and children, with my mother, peace of mind, peace of mind.
Achillea, I'm sorry the time is gone so fast.
Has it gone already? Amazing.
I'm upset, but you know something? It's been a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And I hope I have you here again in the future, so we have so many good stories to talk about.
Oh my goodness, so many. So many.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, ευχαριστώ πολύ, Achillea μου. Να είσαι καλά και εύχομαι κάθε επιτυχία και στην οικογένεια την υπόλοιπη, πάντα τις επιτυχίες και happiness.
And to you too, Vasily. Thank
Ευχαριστώ
you.
πολύ. Thank you very much. Κυρίες και κύριοι, καλοί φίλοι τηλεθεατές, κάπου εδώ βλέπετε τα ωραία πράγματα ή τα ενδιαφέροντα πράγματα τελειώνουν. Έτσι τελείωσε και αυτή η εκπομπή. Faces, πρόσωπα. Εμείς θα είμαστε μαζί και πάλι την ερχόμενη Κυριακή, την ίδια ώρα, στις 8 η ώρα. Μην απομακρυνθείτε. Από μένα λοιπόν, τον Βασίλη Παναγή, καληνύχτα σας, να έχετε χαρά και ευτυχία στη ζωή σας και από τον Achillea το ίδιο.
Αντίο.
Καληνύχτα, Achillea.
Καληνύχτα.